What are the externalities and unintended consequences of organisational processes? Externalities are a consequence of an industrial or commercial activity which affects other parties. The steel industry experiences several externalities through its mining and production processes. Here at Queen's Campus, we are situated right beside the Teesside Steelworks, who have historic and cultural influence in the local community, the closing down of which is just one of many organisational processes that create externalities when it comes to steel. The process of producing steel starts with its acquisition of raw materials.
Iron ore is the key resource used to produce steel and is most commonly sourced from Africa. It is mined, and as companies aim to make labour costs as low as possible, children are often employed, which leads to them missing out on an education, resulting in less graduates from high school. This means, in the long run, the country's economy weakens. However, by mining in these countries, there is more trade between poor and rich nations, which may lead to less tariffs and quotas placed on goods, and more liberal trade between countries. This increases the political stability as the countries require each other for trade revenue, resulting in countries becoming more unified, and thus less likely to ever go into conflict with one another.
Therefore, the mining in poorer nations caused the negative externality of a weakening in the poorer nation's economy, but the positive externality of more international political stability.
Once the iron has been mined, it gets transported to factories where it gets produced into steel. China is the leading producer of steel, producing half of the 1.6 billion tonnes of steel made globally every year. Pollution, however, is a major problem for steel companies due to the negative externalities they create. The main pollutant element of steel production is coke. Coke comes from coal and is used to fuel the blast furnaces that allow iron to be made into steel. Emissions caused by the usage of coke increase the risk of respiratory diseases such as asthma. This puts a strain on the government funds as they have to allocate more money into healthcare services. Furthermore, a waste product of steel making is sludge. Steel plants tend to build pipes to dispose sludge in rivers. As a result, the fish populations along these rivers decrease massively, having a negative impact on the fishing industry. In summary, the producing of steel led to the unintended consequence of government funds being depleted and the damaging of the fishing industry.
However, because China manufactures steel so effectively and at such a cheap cost, other steel industries across the world suffer. For example, Teesside Steelworks in Redcar has been closed, leading to several jobs being lost. This has had severe negative externalities for the community in the northeast of England. Specifically, job loss results in lower income and therefore lower living standards, and potentially lower consumption, which has a negative impact on the economy as a whole. Further on, this could lead to increased poverty, homelessness, higher rates of crime and vandalism, increased gang activities, and potentially increased alcoholism. In addition, the job losses result in the government having to allocate more money into offering unemployment benefits. This means they suffer the opportunity cost of not being able to invest money into healthcare, education, and more beneficial investments to the economy. Therefore, the closing down of Redcar's steel plant has led to negative externalities of more crime and alcoholism and less government investment into the economy. However, the job loss in Redcar prompted the government to invest an £80 million support package offering further training. This gives workers an employable skill set, improving the pool of applicants for recruiting businesses. This suggests a positive unintended consequence of job loss.
And those are the unintended consequences or externalities caused by organisational processes in the steel industry.